Toledo, Spain is an easy 30 to 40 minute train ride or 50-minute bus ride from Madrid. Toledo was one of our favorite cities during our travels through Spain, and I hope it will be one of yours too. Let me share some highlights with you to help you plan your visit. Welcome to Sarah's Scuba and Travel channel, and welcome to Toledo. Toledo sits on a hill and is one of the most well-preserved walled cities in Spain, containing medieval architecture and streets. In addition, the historic center of Toledo is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Since it sits on a hill, this also means lots of uphill walks and stairs, so get ready to meet your exercise and step goals for the day. If you arrive by train, take some time to stop and enjoy the train station, which was inaugurated in 1919. The history hits you from the moment you step off the train. As you make your way to your accommodations, you will most likely get your first glimpse at the impressive city walls that surround the historic city. The walls were originally built by the Romans, however, much of the original walls have been destroyed. Stones were reused to build larger walls by the Visigoths and then again by the Arabs, who increased the size even more. Finally, after the Reconquista, the walls were further enlarged and new gates were constructed, which is what you experience today. We arrived in the late afternoon, so after checking into Hotel Abad and getting settled, we were focused on eating. If you want a restaurant suggestion and you're looking for a restaurant with great food and a nice atmosphere, I recommend Restaurante Alfileretos 24. This recommendation originally came from a front desk member at our hotel. Therefore, before leaving your hotel and heading out on your own, I recommend asking them for a map and any recommendations they have for food or sites. They know the area. Take advantage of it. If you stay at the same hotel, link in description below, your walk to the restaurant will allow you an uphill workout past Puerta del Sol, which is a city gate built in the 14th century, and the Mezquita Cristo de la Luz. More on that later. You'll get a glimpse of some important sites while building up your appetite. The restaurant offers unique ways to experience the gastronomy of Toledo. The area where we were seated was built directly into the side of the mountain. I had a wonderful burrata salad with tomatoes and a lovely tomato sorbet. My husband elected to have their 7-course tasting menu, which featured dishes like steak tartare, gazpacho, venison and fish, and more, including dessert. From here, we made a quick walk over to Plaza Socodover. This is the main plaza in Toledo, so you will probably find yourself walking through here multiple times as you make your way to various sites. I do want to highlight one shop in the plaza, and that's Santo Tome. This is a 165-year-old family-owned sweet shop that specializes in marzipan. Toledo is well known for its marzipan, and you will find multiple stores offering to sell you this specialty treat. I really enjoyed the treats from Santo Tome. I particularly liked the fruit-shaped marzipan treats, which contained a ball of chocolate with the corresponding fruit jelly inside. Apple was our favorite, as the jelly contained actual pieces of apple. I want to stop here and share with you an international travel log that I created to quickly capture your daily adventures without long journaling sessions at the end of the day. There are 50 log entries, each containing a mementos page to visually capture your memories. For more information and to order your copy, please see the link in the description below. This video focuses on a 2-day itinerary with the idea that you will have 2 full days in the Old City, not including your travel day. Therefore, it actually spans 3 nights, so you're already in the city at the start of your first day. For your first day in Toledo, I recommend starting early, especially if you're visiting during the summer months. The morning hours are much cooler, and it is a more enjoyable time of day to walk around the city. Make your way to Puerta de Bisagra, Nueva. This is the best known gate of Toledo, which was originally built by the Moorish in 1559 and contains the coat of arms of the Emperor Charles V. To walk through the courtyard and admire the medieval structure is breathtaking. From here, if you want to grab a bite, I recommend stopping at the Churreria Kiosco Catalino for some churros and chocolate with coffee or tea. The churreria is located across the street from Puerta de Bisagra, and it is a classic tasty breakfast in Spain. Fried dough and chocolate? Yes, please. Next, make your way to Puerta de Alfonso VI. It is known by a few additional names as well: Bisagra Antigua, Puerta Vieja de Bisagra, or Old Bisagra Gate. This gate is one of the few remaining parts of the Arab wall. It was the original main entrance to the city and dates back to the 9th or 10th century. For this itinerary, we walked in one big circle to hit the highlights and made our way back to our accommodations. Depending on where you are staying in the city, you may need to adjust the order of the stops where appropriate. Get ready to walk, because our next few stops are a good distance away. We made our way to Ermita del Cristo de la Vega. You will want to decide if this stop is worth visiting for you. It was closed when we arrived a little after 10 a.m., but we were still able to see the statue of Christ from the gates. Next, make your way back to the main road, Avenida de la Cava, and walk across the bridge. This is where you will start to get beautiful views of Puente de San Martin. The bridge was originally constructed during the Middle Ages in the 13th century. It was later modified to add two defensive towers, one from the 13th and the other from the 16th century. In 1921, it was declared a national monument. Once across the traffic bridge, you can make your way to the gates of Puente de San Martin. Along the way, you will find parks and walkways that give you great views of the bridge over the Tagus River with the city and cathedral in the background. When ready, you can cross the bridge to make your way back into the Old City. If you would like to experience the bridge and the crossing of the Tagus in a different way, you can zip line across with Fly Toledo. Next, make the uphill climb to Puerta del Cambrón. This is another city gate, and it is the only one open to motor traffic, so be very careful when entering the gate to explore the interior and get views from the other side. Near the gate, inside the city walls, you may notice a marker in the street indicating that you are in the Jewish quarter of Toledo now. From here, head up the street to admire the outside of Monasterio San Juan de los Reyes. You will notice the shackles hanging on the side of the church. These shackles were once used by the Moors on Christian captives during the 15th century War of Granada and were hung on the side of the church as a symbol of their liberation and Christianity winning. If you continue along the road, you will find the entrance to the monastery. There is a fee of 4 euros to enter, or you can purchase the Toledo tourist wristband for 14 euros, which gives you access to 7 monuments. Each charge 3 to 4 euros to enter. If you have plans to follow this itinerary, I recommend purchasing the wristband as you will save money on entrance fees. I will highlight 6 of the 7 monuments in this video, and you can easily add the 7th, Rio Colegio des Doncellas Nobles, if time permits in your schedule. You will receive a map of the monuments with the days and hours of operation with your purchase. The wristband is good for one entry into each monument for 7 days following the day of purchase. The wristband must be worn on the wrist and is waterproof. This makes entrance into the monuments much easier as well because all you have to do is scan your wristband. Once you've made your purchase, you will scan your wristband and make your way into Monasterio San Juan de los Reyes. You should see QR codes available for the free audio guide as well. You will immediately enter the first floor of the cloister, which encircles beautiful gardens. Follow the cloister, admiring the views of the architecture as you make your way to the entrance of the main chapel. The monastery was ordered to be built by the Catholic kings in Toledo in gratitude for the victory of the Battle of Toro in 1476. The monastery is dedicated to Saint John the Evangelist. Construction began in 1477. The chapel and cloisters suffered significant damage in December 1808 due to destruction and fire during Napoleon's invasion. In 1883, the monastery began restoration. Take some time to examine the carvings and statues on the walls and ceilings. Then make your way to the second floor of the cloister. Examine the details of the ceiling, which contains symbols of Catholic monarchs. Eventually, you will make your way to the royal tribune and balcony. Here you can get unique views into the chapel from above, also giving you a greater look at the ceiling and structures on the wall. Next is a short walk to the Sinagoga Santa Maria la Blanca, which is the second monument on your wristband. After you enter the courtyard, you can immediately proceed into the synagogue where you will scan your bracelet. You will be hit with the beauty of the pillars inside. The chancel faces east towards Jerusalem. This was the main synagogue in Toledo's Jewish quarter dating back to the late 12th century. It stopped being used as a synagogue in the 15th century, just a few decades prior to the expulsion of the Jews from Spain, and was converted into the Church of Santa Maria la Blanca. Our next stop is Sinagoga del Transito Museo Sefardi. This location is not one of the monuments included in the wristband, so you will need to pay a small entrance fee of 3 euros per person. Entrance is free after 2 p.m. on Saturdays and all day on Sunday. This is one of the most well-preserved medieval synagogues in the world. The synagogue houses a museum that presents the history of Jews in Spain. The exhibition extends to present day, and in the courtyard you will find ancient gravestones and sculptures on display. Nearby is Museo del Greco. We visited on Tuesday, and it happened to be the one day that week that was going to be free to the public. They also offer free admission on Saturday afternoons and Sundays. General admission is usually €3 per person, but if you visit Museo Sefardi, you can buy a joint ticket for €5. In addition, there are various exceptions allowing free entry, like many museums in Spain, so you may want to check out their website in advance. Entrance to the museum starts with a walk past the medieval cellars, which were closed during our visit, and a stroll through the gardens to get to the entrance of the museum. This is the only museum in Spain dedicated to El Greco, who was a Greek painter during the Spanish Renaissance. He created religious paintings specifically for the churches and monasteries in Toledo. You will see an entire wall dedicated to his 13 paintings of the apostles. Other works on display include the Tears of St. Peter and the View and Plan of Toledo, where he depicts the most important building in the city being the hospital, not the medieval structures or religious institutions. In addition to Greco's work, you will find some of the work from his students on display, most notably works from Louis Tristan. At this point, you will most likely be looking for lunch. Take a stroll through the Jardins del Transito, which is directly across the street from the El Greco Museum and the Museo Sefardi. Here you can get more views of the surrounding landscapes of Toledo. On the corner, you will find Taberna Tristana, where we enjoyed a delicious lunch. With your stomach full, the next stop is Iglesia de Santo Tome. We walked past the entrance a few times before finding it, including up and down the hill. It is not a typical church entrance that you may be expecting. It has glass doors that make it look more like a museum or a shop. This is one of the monuments that is included with your wristband. The nave and sanctuary are pretty, but the biggest highlight at this location is the grandiose painting by El Greco, which was commissioned by the priest in 1586 to commemorate the death of the church's greatest benefactor, the Count of Orgaz. The painting is considered the painter's most complex and richest in meaning. It is worth a stop to see, and it's part of your wristband. Make the climb up the hill. Hopefully this is your first climb up the hill, and check out some of the shops along Calle de Santo Tome. We enjoyed music from a local street artist and purchased 2 of her CDs. We also made a stop into a candy shop, which was dangerous because everything was so tasty. You will also find another Santo Tome marzipan location on this street. If you need to refresh your supply or want to try some treats for the first time, you have another opportunity to do so. Eventually, Calle de Santo Tome will run right into Iglesia del Salvador, which is the next monument included with your wristband. When you first walk into the church, you may question the significance of this location, as it does not appear to be much initially. However, this location was originally a mosque during the 9th century and became a Christian church in 1159. In recent years, restorations have unearthed the old structures. You can climb down a set of stairs to view the ruins underneath the church and proceed outside to the courtyard where original structures from the mosque have been discovered. Before you leave, you may want to climb the stairs of the bell tower to get views of the surrounding area. However, if you want to save your energy, the next stop offers a much more impressive surprise. Therefore, make your way to Iglesia de los Jesuitas, which is also known as Iglesia de San Ildefonso. This monument is also included in your wristband. The inside is gorgeous. You will find statues of the 13 apostles surrounding the nave and sanctuary, along with 19 chapels. The church was constructed over the birthhouse of Saint Ildefonso by the Society of Jesus in the 17th and 18th centuries, hence the second name. There are dedications to the saint throughout the church, including the beautiful dome and altar area. On the left side of the church, you will find access to the towers. If you don't plan on climbing the towers, I still encourage you to make your way to the second floor, which gives you a different view of the nave and altar. However, if you are physically able, I encourage you to make the tower climb. There are a lot of stairs, but the views are some of the best in Toledo. You will eventually find yourself in the first tower. Toledo is referred to as the city of three cultures due to its mostly peaceful coexistence of Muslims, Christians, and Jews during the medieval period. From this lookout, you will have a clear view of the Alcazar and the cathedral. Then you can make your way outside and cross to the other tower, which is actually the bell tower for the church. This is a unique experience in that you actually get to visit both towers and cross the top of the building. Most visits to the cathedral towers will confine you to one tower with one way up and one way down. However, here, this is a one-way path, so you will make your way down the bell tower back to the second floor. This puts you right next to the large organ. Then you can make your way down to the first floor the same way you came up. I really enjoyed this stop. For the next site, I encourage you to make your own decision if it's worth stopping your itinerary or not. This is the Termas Romanas, or the Roman ruins. Entrance was free when we visited. The ruins were not very big, so you can quickly experience them. I think I got spoiled with the ruins in other cities, like Zaragoza and Valencia. Be aware they do close from 2 to 4 p.m., but this could be a quick 15-minute stop. At this point, we were getting closer to our hotel, and I had one last stop, the Mezquita Cristo de la Luz. This monument is included in your wristband, so a quick scan of your wristband will allow you access to the small mosque from 999. This building is over 1,000 years old. A church was added 2 centuries later. The building is surrounded by beautiful gardens and part of the Arab wall, which leads to Puerta del Sol. This is another place to get beautiful views of the surrounding area. At this point it was 4 p.m., so I was ready to cool off and take a little rest. I encourage you to do the same if you are following this itinerary. In the evening, I recommend grabbing dinner and purchasing tickets for the 9 p.m. Toledo train vision. Tickets can be purchased at the kiosk in Plaza Socodover or at the train stop behind the Alcazar near the parking area. They are €9 per person. You will be given a brand new set of headphones, which allows you to listen to the pre-recorded information as you pass major sites along the journey. The train does a circle around the city, offering beautiful views. Your ticket is good for one ride, which lasts approximately 45 minutes. The 9 p.m. train in the summer is the perfect timing to capture views of the city at sunset. I recommend sitting on the right side of the train for the best views and clear shots. There is one 5-minute stop at the Mirador del Valle, which is the best location to get shots of the old city. If you are not interested in the train, another option to get out to this location is purchasing the 24-hour tickets for the hop-on, hop-off bus, but that is more expensive at €20 per person. It just depends on what you're looking to do with your time. If you want to see the city lights at night, I recommend purchasing the 10 p.m. train ride. We ended up hitting some other stops on our way back to our hotel to experience the city at night. One of those stops was Puente de Alcantara. This is a Roman arch bridge that was originally constructed between 105 and 106 AD. The bridge is 214 meters long and 48 meters high at its maximum, with 6 arches. One of them was destroyed in 1809 during the Peninsular War to prevent French troops from crossing the river. It was reconstructed in 1860. You can get beautiful views of the Alcazar and Castillo de San Servando from the bridge. If you have the energy, I encourage you to explore the city at night. The sites are beautifully lit up and it gives you a different perspective of the city. Day 2 includes 2 major sites. The first is the Alcazar, which houses the Museo del Ejercito, or the Army Museum. If possible, I recommend scheduling your visit for a Wednesday when entrance is free. If that is not possible, general admission is €5. You will enter the building through what is referred to as the new building. This structure is not part of the original Alcazar. However, you will quickly see the archaeological site that it protects as you make your way up the escalator. This is one of the largest indoor archaeological sites in Spain and contains ruins from the Roman, Visigoth, Arab, and Christian eras. There are multiple floors to explore. If you plan to see all of them, you will need to allocate a few hours to this stop. Before even entering the Alcazar, we were drawn in by a Marmon 34, in which the president of the Council of Ministers and leader of the Conservative Party was assassinated on March 8, 1921. You will find another vehicle in the museum that was also the product of an assassination attempt. I recommend making your way into the Alcazar through the gift shop to start exploring the permanent exhibit. You will enter on T2, which includes exhibits on the history of the Alcazar, museum origins, uniforms of the Spanish Army, ethnographic heritage, and more. One exhibit that I found interesting was the exhibit on the history of military miniature toys and how they evolved through the ages from flat paper cutouts to lead and tin to steel and eventually resin and plastic. The collection is amazing and it is fascinating to see the evolution of the toys. My husband particularly liked the Dukes of Medinaceli collection because of all the armor, swords, and guns. On each floor you can find original structures of the Alcazar. On T2 you will find hidden staircases or spiral staircases, the meat safe, and cisterns. Next, head upstairs to H1 where you can learn about the history of the Spanish monarchy from 1492 to 1788 and the liberalists and absolutionists from 1788 to 1843. You'll also find access to the north front where you can step outside and get views of the surrounding areas, as well as the Alcazar and monuments. When you return to the building, you will find access to the Charles V courtyard and imperial staircase. This is really where you get to experience and appreciate the Alcazar. The original structure dates back to the Roman Empire, 3rd century AD, with new parts being added by each inhabitant throughout history. After the Romans used it as a defensive structure, the Visigoths and Arabs used it as royal residences. Alfonso VI and Alfonso X constructed a new Alcazar over the existing one during the 11th and 14th centuries. In the modern age, Emperor Charles V returned to Spain and the building was modified again in 1535. Then the Alcazar suffered several fires and destruction as it served as a prison, house of charity, and a military academy during the Spanish Civil War in 1936 and was destroyed. In the mid-20th century, it was rebuilt with the intention of maintaining the style of the imperial architects. You can climb the stairs of the imperial staircase to get views of the courtyard from above. Eventually, make your way to C1 via the elevator. This is a small floor that features the imperial chapel. Next, take the elevator to H2, where you will find exhibits focused on the 18 and 1900s to the 20th century and eventually the army of the present day. There's one more floor to visit, and that is T1. This floor is underneath the floor where you originally entered the museum. You will need to take the elevator down to T1. If you are not on the correct side of the building, you may need to take the elevator to T2 and then walk over to the elevator by the miniatures exhibit. This is the only elevator that goes down to T1, or you can take the stairs. Once you arrive on T1, you will see the Umayyad Gate. During the Umayyad period, this was an access gate to the Arab fortified compound. This entrance was removed by the Christians as they extended and modified the fortress. On T1, you will find the history of artillery, sharp weapons, and handheld firearms housed in the Alcazar stables. My husband loved this floor as well, especially the cannons. At this point you may be done, but I encourage you to take a quick trip outside to the gardens, which are accessible from N4. The gardens house military vehicles, artillery, and statues, as well as offer views of Castillo de San Servando and surrounding areas. At this point, I recommend grabbing some lunch. If you are interested in a unique experience, you can visit the Museo El Queso Manchego for cheese and wine tastings and learn more about how they make the famous cheese of Spain. The museum is located near our next stop, the Primate Cathedral. This cathedral may not be as impressive as other cathedrals in Spain from the outside, but I really enjoyed my visit. You will need to purchase an entrance ticket from the shop across the street. General admission is 12 euros. You will enter through the Jana door and immediately be hit by the beauty of the large pillars, vaults, and stained glass windows. The cathedral sits on the same site of the city's first religious temple during the Roman times, later the Visigothic basilica, and a Muslim mosque. It was consecrated for Christian worship in 1086, with construction of the current cathedral starting in 1227. If you want an audio guide for your visit, I recommend downloading the free Visit Toledo Cathedral app on your phone prior to your visit. Don't forget your headphones or earpods so you do not disturb other guests. I want to highlight a few different stops within the cathedral. Behind the choir is the Chapel of the Descent. This is supposedly located in the exact same location the apparition of the Virgin Mary appeared to bestow the chasuble upon Saint Ildefonso. Nearby, you will find access to the treasure room, which contains the Arf Custody or the cathedral's monstrance, used during Corpus Christi celebrations. It measures 2.5 meters high and is composed of 5,600 pieces held together by 12,500 screws and contains 250 statuettes made of enameled and gilded silver. It is crowned by a diamond-studded cross. The next highlight is the cloister, which was originally a Jewish market. In 1389, Archbishop Don Pedro Tenorio ordered the purchase to create the cloister and chapel for his burial. You will find beautiful frescoes from the 18th century on the walls leading to the chapel of Archbishop Tenorio. The chapel ceiling is painted as a starry sky with images of dragons for protection. In the middle, you will find the tombs of Archbishop Tenorio and his faithful advisor and nephew, Don Vicente Aries, Bishop of Plasencia. Unfortunately, many of the frescoes on the walls have been lost due to dampness. Back inside the cathedral, head over to the high altar. To the right, you will see the lion's door, and to the left, the clock door. The high altar is protected by one of the most extravagant grilles of the Spanish Renaissance, taking 10 years to forge. To the left of the new altarpiece, Alfonso VII, the emperor, is buried, and his son is buried to the right of the new altar. The main altarpiece took 6 years to build and features scenes from the life of Christ and the Virgin Mary. Across from the main altar, you will find the choir. The choirs always impress me inside each cathedral, but this one was particularly beautiful with the wood carvings with no two seats being the same. Next, make your way over to the sacristy where you can explore the art galleries, including works by El Greco. Your gaze will probably be drawn to the fresco on the ceiling of the main sacristy. Back in the main cathedral, you will find access to the crypt where you will find the skeleton of Saint Ursula, who was laid to rest in February 1673. She was executed in 451 by the Huns en route to Rome when she refused to renounce her faith and marry their leader. Next, make your way behind the main altar where you will find the transparente. This is a Baroque high altar designed to illuminate the tabernacle with natural light. This is truly beautiful and something unique to this cathedral. Finally, make your way to the chapter house, which contains the chapter room. This room served as a stage for important deliberations and contains portraits of all the primate bishops. The walls are completely covered in murals. At this point, you are close to the main door when you entered, and most likely you are ready to exit the cathedral. There's a lot more to see and experience in the cathedral, but I wanted to make sure I shared some of the highlights with you to help you plan your visit. I recommend planning to spend at least an hour. 2 hours is probably more realistic if you really want to see everything and listen to the audio guide. The last highlight I want to mention for Toledo is its history of blacksmith work, particularly sword making. You will see swords, knives, and armor on display for purchase in many of the gift shops, as well as antique guns. Before making a purchase, I would do some research on the best way to transport these goods into your country of residence. Customs usually doesn't look too fondly on weapons being brought into the country, and they are definitely not allowed in carry-on luggage. If you are interested, you can participate in a sword making demonstration with a local craftsman as well. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Toledo was one of our favorite cities, and we packed a lot into a 2-day visit. I hope this video helps you plan your visit and you enjoy your time in Toledo as much as we did. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. If you would like to help support future productions, please donate using the Super Thanks button or buy me a snack using the link in the description below. Please join the Facebook group and follow me on Instagram for more content.